the best way to learn is and not to be afraid to fail. Of course, everyone is afraid to fail, but like not to that doesn't need to stop you from taking action. And of course, you need to calculate. It should be calculated risk, not just jump from a plane without a parachute.
Hi, welcome. What an honor to have you on the channel. I believe that in life we are here to serve a purpose greater than ourselves. But in order to do that the best way, we must start with investing in ourselves. I believe in you, and this channel is going to give you tools to help you overcome your challenges and light your path. Let's start.
Do we really have to trust the process, or can we just go our own way and then do whatever we think we know and whatever we think we can?
Hey, Milko, good morning.
Good morning to you too. How are you here?
I'm doing great. Great to see you. I'm happy to know it's finally working out. What a pleasure.
Yes. Tell me a bit more about yourself first.
Sounds great. I love that. And of course, I would also love to hear. I read about what you're doing and I saw you're doing some great work. I would hear more about that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So, you know, and my future plans, I'm also hoping to come to your area to do some backpacking. So we might meet there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. As you see, I love, you know, I'm a big believer in movement for the body and for the soul. So I just finished a nice run. It was nice. Right now, basically, you know, in life, we all go through different changes. I was more in the industry of protecting people for some years. And later on, you know, some unexpected things happened in the process of life. So that's, you know, happens to everyone. You know, all different challenges came through, whether it was through health, finance, relationships, everything. So I kind of transitioned into different areas of those places. And right now, actually, I work with investors in real estate. I help them find the right investment for them. You know, if you ask people, they'll say that's my job, maybe. But I think my real job is, it's not a job, it's more of a mission. That's my job, real estate. My mission is helping people overcoming their challenges and lighting their path. So, you know, when you go through some challenges in life, you learn some great lessons. And from those lessons, you know, I just want to help other people. Sometimes people come to me now for help, whether it's in financial behavior or just mental issues, just, you know, helping them going through their challenge. As you know, you're in the field. A big percentage of that is listening. And according to the listening, trying to help first listening without trying, you know, just listening without coming with an answer in the pocket. Because, you know, each person is different. Each person is unique. And if we come to a person with will to help, but the answer's in our pocket before we even heard him, so it doesn't work that way. Each person is unique. Each person is different. So, you know, just listening. After that, if I also think through their situation, something that I think will help them, amazing. We'll also try to help with that. But like, you know, in your area, so each person is a different story. And what is good for me is not necessarily good for them. For them, something else might be good. So just being there for people, and of course, not forgetting ourselves. I forgot myself for a long time. I didn't invest in myself, so I paid the price, got to the hospital a few times, and now trying to learn. You know, we're students in the University of Life. That's what my grandmother told me.
Yeah, that's how we learn the best. We have an expression in my country that we say, smart people learn from the mistakes of others, stupid people learn from their own. But unfortunately, I guess most of us are stupid because most of us, we learn only from our own mistakes. Ideally, we will learn from other people's mistakes, but that comes, I guess, at some point in our life. But I know what you mean. I like your story, and I agree with you what you said about that you need to listen to first, because sometimes from what I know from my coaching practice, I know that sometimes, and not only from the coaching, but usually human relationships, when people say things out loud and they kind of find their own solutions, and sometimes the thing is also sometimes when we say our problems out loud, they don't sound as bad, because sometimes we think, oh, that's terrible, or our excuses. This is why sometimes in the coaching it's good to ask your clients to say their excuse out loud, and they realize how ridiculous it is. And so it's very funny how people, when they you don't need to do much, because when they say their excuse out loud and they realize how ridiculous it is and that it's not realistic at all and it's not really an excuse. But I agree with that we learn through our mistakes all the time, and that's how I know all the things that I know. Most of the things that I know is just because it's not because I'm extremely smart or something like that, which I wish I believe that would be nice. But just because I've been through so many struggles and so many problems, and also health issues, all kind of problems with doctors, for example, all kind of relationships problems, let's say, and also like finances, as you said, all the main areas of life, and that have taught me how to deal with them. It's not because I'm a genius and I come up with all the solutions. Just when you have to do it, then you actually learn, and that's the best way to learn. Sometimes it can be very hard, but as Mary, I don't know if you know her, she's from the Movement Makers as well. So the other day she told me something that I've heard it before, but from her now it comes, I guess, in the right moment. She said that what's the difference between school and life? The difference is that life first gives you the test and then gives you the lesson, and in school it's the opposite.
Nice one. I like that. Yeah, that's a really nice one. It's a really nice, it's really smart, understanding that and acknowledging that. I think what you said before, everything was, I'm just learning. As I said, student of life, you said some amazing words of wisdom. I think when you say, genius is not necessarily your IQ. Genius is your will to learn, because at the end of the day, we should also learn from other people that got wherever we want to get. But we all make mistakes, and we're human beings. And if you have that will to learn, that's, I think, the genius part. And then, there are always challenges. Everyone has their own challenges. But before, like you said, before you make it this huge challenge, maybe it is. I'm not saying it's not. But before that, take into perspective, because your challenge, your nightmare is someone else's dream. Maybe there's 1% of the population that can say that about them, but most of the people, their challenge, their nightmare is someone else's dream. So I'm not saying not to face it, not to go through and, and crush it, but first taking a perspective, I love that. It's really nice. How did you get into the coaching field? Like you said, you went through challenges, and I was wondering how you got there.
So I just want to say what you said about someone else's, our struggle is someone else's dream. It's this is why we need to be grateful for whatever we have, because we never, I was talking that with someone the other day, because we never really know. This is why I'm trying to, I'm going a bit sideways, but I'm trying to not be judgmental. That's one of the hardest things, is not to judge people, because you never, ever, ever know what's happening in their head, what have happened and how they see, because even if it's two people with the same experience, with the same character and stuff, they experience everything in a different way. So you can't just judge them and tell, oh, this guy have the success, or they have the success and I'm struggling here. And as you said, some people are dreaming for our life that we are complaining so much from it. So for me, I had I had lots of like health challenges. I've always been interested in all kind of activities. I love being active. I love going and experiencing stuff. I love nature. I love hiking and stuff like that. I was very active and I liked things like that. And first I wanted to build muscles when I was a teenager. You know, I wanted to be cool. I was thinking if I build muscles, I'll be very cool. And then with the time, of course, at that time there was no YouTube or I was not familiar with it. Actually, it came out just later. And I was just going to the gym with some friends and just doing whatever comes, you know. So, of course, the results were not great. There were some results, but the results were not great. And I started being more interested into fitness when I got older, and I start having some health issues. And because my nutrition was terrible, I was eating only like huge amounts of chocolate and bread and cheese and yogurt, and pretty much that was my diet. And so I got some health issues, and I was lucky or unlucky, or I don't know, to go through some very incompetent doctors. A few times in a row it happens, like different areas, and I suffered a lot because of their incompetence. And I'm not saying anything bad about doctors. I would just managed to go through these ones that were very incompetent. And for like, just to give you an example, one of the times I had some ear infection and my head become like this, you know, just because they gave me the wrong medicine that made it worse. Then another time I had some bite on my leg that this doctor, like, she put me in the hospital and she scared me. She told me that I'm pre-diabetic and I have this rare condition that I pretty much, my legs will become like elephant legs and all kind of stuff like that. And then I was in a hospital and antibiotics for a month and nothing changed. And then I just went to another doctor and he gave me a little cream and everything disappeared for like one day. And like all this stress, all these struggles. And then I had injury on my leg. Again, another doctor made me lay on the bed and my leg got worse. And so it's like I have so many of these. And that every single time I was like, I was realizing more and more that I want to take back control over my health. You know, and because I still sometimes, rarely I go to the doctor. But in my opinion, because, you know, doctors can save your life many times, they're saving lives every day. But in my opinion, we need to do everything we can before we go to the doctor. So that's what I'm trying to teach people, because nowadays we just go for everything. We take pills, and I want to show people, because the more I was learning what I'm doing, like about my health for myself, the more I was realizing how much misleading information and how wrong we are about our knowledge about health, because we are thinking that is something that we don't have much control, but actually most of the things come from are in our control. So if we make some changes, we have complete control over our health, or maybe not complete, but most of the challenges we can overcome them ourselves. And then, Amazing. Of course, as you said, in the life, challenges happen, struggles, some relationship. I was interested because I've always been very curious, and I've always been interested in what gives good life and what helps us have a good life. And then, you know, I was interested. I was in relationship. I was searching what makes a good relationship. Then I was same with finances, same with other like main areas of life, and that helped me. And I was giving advice to people, and you know, the more I was giving, the more I was feeling better, because when I see they have results, it's like I really like it. You know, it's like when you see that they get it, and it's like you sometimes you transform their life, and that makes me feel very good. And I was very passionate about it anyway. Otherwise, I'm IT by education. I used to work in IT for 6.5 years, and I have masters in computer engineering and telecommunication and stuff like that. But just that's a field that I've never been interested in. I was just thinking that I would just make lots of money and that's it. And I know much more about health and wellness than I know about IT, even though I was not bad in it.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's the short, long story.
Wow. What a story, Milko. What a story. And I love the, you know, I love everything over there. And there's so much to learn. I'll point to the end for a second that you said that you were in IT for 6 years, right? And you went through those health struggles and you went also through some relationship struggles. Now I'm talking to you, you know, you have a beautiful smile, you look great, and I'm sure you still have challenges. But my wonder is how does a person do so many changes? Also, like, you know, moving from one field to a total different field, even though you said you know a lot more, you know, in the health and fitness and helping people, but you're there for 6 years. It's not 6 minutes. It's a long time. And so how does someone, I'll say, maybe trust the process of when you're in that challenge, how do you, of health, of relationship, of needing to change a career, or maybe not needing, you didn't need to, you made a lot of money there, but wanting to change a career, how do you process that? Because now it's nice talking over here, you know, on the live, but when you were there, I'm sure it looked a little bit different.
Yeah, it was definitely it was hard. So first, I would say the best way to learn is and not to be afraid to fail. Of course, everyone is afraid to fail, but like not to that doesn't need to stop you from taking action. And of course, you need to calculate. It should be calculated risk, not just jump from a plane without a parachute, you know, and be like, oh, let's fail and see what will happen. You know, it should be, and that's what I believe, that most successful people are just the ones that have failed the most. So they learn the most when you fail. And for me, as you said, 6.5 years, I was 6.5 years in IT working, and before that 6 years I was studying it. So it's like 12 years of my life, and it was not very easy. But in the same time, I was seeing other, as I told you, I'm very curious and I really want to know what brings happiness and what makes people happy. And I believe that I'm a happy person. And most of my life I've been like a happy person, I believe, or want to believe. And I still think that I'm happy even with the challenges. I managed to, there was one very interesting book, just going a bit sideways, but that I read when I was like late teens, and they were saying, if you have struggles and stuff like that, and you're worried about something, to ask yourself, is this thing really worth it? Is it worth to really stress about it? And that thing, at that time, I have it, I don't remember much from the book, but that's one sentence that I kind of remember. And if I ask myself, because most people, if we ask ourselves, is this thing really worth the struggle, not the struggles, the worries, the stress, the all kind of, stuff like that, then almost all the things are not really worth it. And even if it's worth it, worrying, it doesn't make it better. So, and that's what have changed. But going back to your question about how I transitioned, so I was seeing that people that work in this industry, because the problem there is that it's not a hard job, and you kind of have some freedom, and you make good money. So you don't make you make good enough money to keep you there, but you don't make so much money that you can work a few years and then go away from it. So just the comfort zone, just the thing. And I was seeing more and more how first I was starting to feel drained from this work. And I was seeing people that, because the company, I was lucky to be in a nice company, so the work was nice and I was doing good, and the teams were very nice, the people that were working. But I was seeing how they're all like the people that have worked many years this thing, and they're very good and they make lots of money. They were still unhappy. They were just waiting for the weekend to happen for them to kind of enjoy their life. You know, they were just from Monday to Friday, they were just going in the circle, and then they were waiting for Saturday and Sunday. And I was like, that's ridiculous. You know, you work 5 days so you can enjoy 2 days. And then I decided, okay, you know, I have this experience, and what kind of gave me confidence is that I knew some of the things, and and I also knew that because of my experience and education in IT, I can always go back to it. You know, it's like if things really don't work, I can always go back to it. But because I knew that probably if I start struggling, I'll go back to it right away. I'm not going to continue pushing. I kind of burned my boats, and I went to Australia, where my IT experience and education didn't mean anything, because in Australia, if it's not from Australia, then they don't like acknowledge it. So it doesn't work. Even if you have 50 years experience and you go there, it's like zero almost all the time.
Wow.
And yeah, so I kind of burned my boats, which in a way it was good, but I could have made some better decisions. And then I had lots of struggles there because I lost lots of money. I was scammed and stuff like that. But that's what I made. I kind of went very fast to it. I just saw something about Australia, and I was like, okay, that's it. That's what I need to do to really force myself and challenge myself to actually do this thing. Because if I was doing it somewhere in Europe, the moment it doesn't work, I can always go back to the IT, and that was going to keep me staying in IT. Then who knows, in a few years, maybe I was going to try again, but I kind of burned my boats, and I went all in. And of course, it was not, and it's still not an easy journey, financial-wise, but otherwise, I love every single day of what I do. And even with the struggles, I really enjoy doing what I do, and even with the hard things that I need to do. But you know, you need to be willing to sacrifice lots of things, because unfortunately it doesn't work right away. But if you play your game cards properly, you can create something in advance a bit, so the risk is much less. Because that's what my mistake was. I didn't when I came back from Australia, because there I had everything established and stuff like that. And when I came back, I thought that without me preparing anything in advance, I would just come and everything will work. And that's where all my struggles came after. But otherwise, as I told you, there was not even one day, because that was maybe 5 years ago. There is not even one day that I've thought I want to go back to IT, you know, and I've thought of it just to go back for a bit to make some money, but never really wanted it. I was just, because I'm forced, I've had some moments that, you know, I'm struggling with the money and I really want to make it work. And so I was like, okay, maybe I should go back to IT to make some money to support the other thing. But otherwise, there is not even one day that I really wanted to go back.
Wow. So it sounds like you don't regret that sacrifice.
No, not at all. It's like really, it haven't even crossed my mind, to be honest. It's just, I guess it was, I was stuck and I just went out.
went out and, you know, just, you know, like a flower, you just bloom. It's amazing. I think, by the way, if I'll go back to that sacrifice, Milko, everyone in life makes sacrifices. You made a conscious one, you know, that you decided, you know, to do those changes, to be in that movement and always to, you know, get out of that comfort zone, push forward. But I think, and actually I know that everyone makes a sacrifice. Sometimes it's a sacrifice that we know, like you did, and sometimes it's a sacrifice of not being aware and just staying stuck where we are or feeling a victim. And I think that sacrifice is something that it's better to be aware of. That way, at least you could have some type of tools to deal with it. But I want to go a few steps back to what you said, and I really love that at the beginning. You were talking about, the fear that we all have here. Fear, fear is something that we all have. It's not only something that is saved for 10% of the population. It's probably there for 100% of us. And fear will be there, but you said fear shouldn't stop you. And I think that's a beautiful thing we should, embrace in life. It's fine to be afraid of something. Back in the day, sometimes I told you my job was to protect people. Sometimes you go into an area that the person behind the wall might have a gun and want to shoot you because you're trying to stop him from hurting other people. And the fear, you have the fear. Whoever tells you that, sometimes the adrenaline is like, oh, high, but you have the fear. The fear is there, like you said. But the fear shouldn't stop us, and I really like that. And I really connect to you saying that, because some people will say, how can I eliminate the fear? No, there is science that says that not fear, you could turn anxiety into excitement. But most of us, I'll say all of us, have fear in a lot of fields in life, and it's fine. We could embrace it and walk through it, go inside. And then also what you said about, you did an amazing step of really going out of your comfort zone. Like after 12 years in that field of IT, you left everything, literally left, and just moved to a different country. And I know after that you said maybe you should have some, some background, not background, but some tools that can help you there. But it's an amazing step. You literally left everything, moved to a different country, and went totally out of your comfort zone, which I think is beautiful. And if I'll take those two tools, it's beautiful, because inside each process there's so many obstacles in the way that you don't really know how things will work, if they'll work. But when you do things like you did, which is basically always movement, trying, learning, falling, like you said, and then learning, because those are the best lessons, and going out of the comfort zone, it's beautiful. If we could all learn to do that, that would be amazing. I appreciate those lessons. Thank you.
I'm happy that my insights are helpful. And it's good to take calculated risks, not just throw yourself at anything. Especially the older you get, the more you need to, because the more people depend on you. Like, for example, now I'm married, so I can't make the same risks as that. I still do. I still take risks, but I can't risk it so much, because it's not only me. Of course, I still risk quite a lot with what I do and stuff like that, but it's good to challenge yourself all the time. And that's what I'm trying to teach people, that once you realize that you have control over things, then it's much more more take responsibility. Then you're much more willing to take these risks. And because when you take responsibility, you take back power. Because as you said, you can be the victim, and that's the worst situation that you can be. Because if you decide to be the victim, then no matter because everyone have challenges all the time in their life, no matter how. And if you decide to be the victim of these challenges, even if they're terrible challenges and very hard ones, I don't underestimate that. But if you decide to be the victim, you give your power away. And then everyone else decides for you instead of you deciding what's happening for you. And when you take responsibility, even sometimes if it's not your fault, if you take responsibility, and that's when you create the change, and that's when you actually start having the life that you want.
The responsibility, I think that's number one, because when you basically tell yourself, okay, it's not my fault, there's nothing I can do, you're putting yourself in you're in custody, you're in jail. Because if you're dependent on someone else's results, that means there's nothing you can do. If there's nothing you could do, there's no reason to be here. So, each person, you said a beautiful thing of taking responsibility through all the process of life, also when things go the way you like it, and also when not. But always saying, okay, this is a situation. I don't want to be dependent on someone else's results, because that means I can't do anything to change it. So what can I do? What can I learn I just went through a breakup with a girlfriend. You know, it's not fun, and I could blame everyone. And by the way, I'm a big believer these days, and also in accepting the pain. But now after I accept the pain, I ask myself, what could I learn for next time? Not in a victim mindset of, oh, you know, poor Yair, he went through a breakup, and no, it's okay. I learned from it, whatever it was. It was painful, 100%. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'll be lying if I say that. But now, what could I learn? What's the lesson? Let's take responsibility. Let's learn those lessons, like you said, learn from life. And then just, you know, that movement, and maybe not burning the boats, as you said, but burning, I'll say, the inside boats. What I mean is that whatever you're going to do, like you said, moving wherever you're moving, whatever it is, have that mindset of burn the boats, of let's go and do that. That's my next step. And, you know, and embrace the fear. Just, you know, go in there, whatever the processes you're going in life. And I think it's beautiful. And of course, like you also mentioned before, I don't believe, you know, if someone, let's say we were talking about changing a job, if someone has no money, not just to go into a different field with no savings and nothing, no, that's not smart. But in those 4 hours that you decide to dedicate to that new field, burn the boats in those 4 hours. Do that, be there, don't think that's where you need to be. And then, you know, slowly you build it. But the mindset is burn the boats when you're focused in that area. So it's beautiful things that, you know, we could learn. And I really connect to those lessons.
And as you said, you just need to go full on. And this is why, for this, you need to trust the process. Because when you trust the process, that I believe that there are two parts of trusting the process. One is like the higher belief that things are happening for you, not to you. So whatever you go through life, it's happening for you so you can grow or learn something and so on and so forth. And the other part is that you need to, and here you need to trust that things are going to work out because you're like, there is something higher than you and so on and so forth. And the other part is just trusting the process, that this is why you need a coach or someone that have achieved the results that you want to achieve, the way you want to achieve them. So you can trust this process, because when you trust the process, then you can go full on. Because if you don't believe that this thing will work out, no matter how many hours you put, you will never be your full potential there. And I like Beautiful. What you said about the relationship. I will go to back. But I just one thing about the failure. What also helps me go through things about, especially changing career, is that you can have, like, you can fail in IT as well. For example, my IT, it's a secure job, it's nice, but they can, you know, you can work in for a company in 20 years and they just kick you out. You know, it's out of nowhere. Some management change and you're out. You know, there is risk everywhere, and maybe you are not going to be able to find job for a long time. Of course, there is always risk. Some are a bit more risky, but much more fulfilling. And you know, there is always risk. So when you allow you, like, leave yourself to go with the flow in a way, in a more negative way, that it's just whatever happened to you. You're not trying to you're not taking responsibility, so you don't have control over things. You just let yourself go. Then things are just happening to you, and it's more likely that you fail a lot and you will not learn from it, and you will be you won't be able to have a happy life. And I like what you said about the relationship. And of course, you know, no one, like, even if it was the worst relationship, there is always something we can learn from it. And most of the times we both grow. And as you said, you know, we can just be like, oh, poor me, or, oh, this, my partner was terrible. I was the best and they were the worst, and this why the relationship, you know, and that's bullshit. There is always two sides of the coin, so it's never only one side. Of course, sometimes it's more one side than others, but there is always the two sides. And when we go with the mindset that, oh, it's their fault and everything is because of them, then we cannot grow. We cannot learn from this experience. And we will just suffer and, like, blame others, and everything is, and again, we're not taking any control. we are not taking any responsibility. So just it's more likely that this thing will happen to us again and even worse next time. And because we keep blaming everyone else for our own things. And I'm not saying that it's not the case, but if you don't blame yourself, as you said, what can I learn from it? If you ask yourself the right questions, you will find the right answers, because you ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? You know, I don't know how long it was, but what can I learn? How can I not make the same mistakes next time? How can I make the next relationship better? How can I, you know, you can also look from, I don't know, excuse me, I don't know if you have like you still in contact, but you can ask the other person or think about what did I do here that was not good that I can improve in the next relationship, you know? Because if you say, oh, it's her fault, she was terrible, or his fault, he was the worst, and I'm so perfect, then you go to the next relationship and you have the same things.
You know? The same.
Sooner or later, you end up in the same situation or even worse. So I like what you're saying. That's how we need to approach every single problem, I believe, and challenge. What can I learn from it? Of course, it's not nice. No one likes going through pain, but pain is part of life. So instead of focusing, oh, I'm such a victim, I'm so in so much pain, you just need to try to learn from it. And it's not going to be easy, of course, but it will be beneficial in the long term, and it will help you have a much better life.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love all these tools that you bring that I think they can help every process, whether it's relationship, whether it's any challenge you have. And I do think that all the tools are great. I don't believe in one size fit all. So some tools will be better for one person. Some tools will be better for another. Each person will use them in a different way. I just have one thing to say about before using those tools. When each person goes through his challenges and, through his process of life, before you use the tools, number one, I believe, is, don't resist reality. Like, accept whatever is happening. And if it's painful, amazing. If you have now gratitude for something and you're like, also that realize we're always talking about pain. By the way, also when you're really happy, be aware of that, because then it would be much stronger and you'll feel it much more. But number one, in order to use those tools, first accept reality. Then after you accept it and feel it, whatever the feeling is, now, okay, let's use the tools. We might want to stay in this reality. We might want to change it through all the amazing tools you mentioned. So it's like after that, we could choose what path we want to go on. But first we realize that we're on the path. Because when we resist it, we can't even start. So appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's also the as you said, you need to appreciate, you need to acknowledge the positive and the negatives, not be ignorant, try to be self-aware, because if you're self-aware, you'll be able to change things. And if you're just ignorant, and both for happiness and for pain and for everything, then it will be very hard for you to either replicate or not, or deal with the negative or replicate the positive. And I like what you say about everyone is different, and there is always not one size fits all. And I think I agree completely with that. And I also think that I'm talking about the main areas of life. There is always the basics of the things that kind of, it's not really work for all, but they need to be there for you to get success. Let's say, simple example, like relationship, for example, there is the key, one of the basics, because every relationship is different, but one of the basics in the relationship is communication. So of course it goes different, because you don't communicate with everyone the same way. You can communicate in different ways, but that's one of the key basic elements of the relationship, for example. Then when it goes to health, let's say, you need movement. it doesn't need to be it's different movement for everyone, that you need, that you enjoy, that works for you, that fits your goals, but you need to have this movement, you know. So it's kind of like everyone is different, but there are some basic things that needs to be there for you to be successful in this thing. And successful, I don't mean like financially successful, but it goes through finances too, you know. If finances, if you no matter how much money you earn, if you spend more than you earn, you will be broke all the time, you know. So like, just some, I'm giving you some simple stupid example here, but the idea is that everyone is different, and in the same time there are a few things that are common for everyone in their own way.
For sure. I think also those basic things, each person will utilize them in a different amount. So I'm saying
yes,
100%. Beautiful. I love all the advice you gave here, you know, today. It was great. If we could even implement some of it, that would be even more amazing. And you know, I'm really looking forward maybe backpacking sometime or something like that. Of course, you're also welcome to my area. Let's see if you could see. There's a mountain right here. I'm not sure you can see it.
I see trees. I don't really see them.
You see that mountain?
That's very nice.
There's a castle there inside the mountain. Someone like an old, you know, hundreds of years ago, someone built in the mountain a castle. But we'll see who comes backpacking, you know, where it will be first. But it was really a pleasure meeting you today.
It was a pleasure for me too, and I'm looking forward for some future collaborations and maybe backpacking. And any last words you want to say for whoever is watching, on your side, on my side? Just like something.
Yeah.
Or...
First, follow Milko on Instagram. You know, he has some great wisdom. He has, you know, the tips that you give. It's also to give. It's fine to give from a book, but you also went through a lot, so that's beautiful. And you know, number two, just realize whatever challenge it is you're going through, before doing everything, you know, just accept it and realize, like Milko's story, just zoom out, look at the process, you know. You go through a lot, just be in the movement, acceptance and movement, and life, just learn from it, be aware. And also, like we said it a minute ago, be also aware of the great things you have, because the most amazing things in life are the ones we take for granted. You know, you woke up, you can see, you can hear, you can walk, you can smell, you can taste. You know, think about that great ice cream. So just, I love what you said about being grateful, and thank you.
Thank you too. And for whoever is going through some challenges, you can follow Yair, and he can help you and help you go through your challenges. And I really enjoyed our conversations. Our conversation. I had also lots of insight. And it makes me, what you said, makes me think about stuff. And it, you know, it's like mutual learning that we get from all these conversations. So thank you again. And I'm looking forward for a future ones to do as well.
I hope you enjoyed the video and got some tools to overcome your challenges and light your path. If you haven't yet, please smash that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, the most amazing things in life are the ones you take for granted.